Polly and Her Parts, written by Allison Biggs, illustrated by Danielle Mulcahy, I think. Polly and Her Parts. Dedicated to the healing of all parts, each has such a story to tell and such a gift to give. And to my family, inside and out, with love, A.B. For all my parts, and for Allison who helped me discover them, D.M. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Polly. She lived in a pretty house with her perfectly nice parents, perfectly nice sister, and perfectly nice cat. Polly's mother and father were known for their niceness, and they raised Polly and her sister, Patty, to be just like them. Nice, no matter what. Polly learned her lesson well, making a point to be the most polite girl she could imagine. She always remembered to say please and thank you, and her parents would beam with pride, calling her their polite little princess. Each night before falling asleep, Polly lay in bed thinking of new ways to be polite. Each morning at breakfast, she anticipated challenges that might arise, making sure that she'd be ready with a polite word, smile, or gesture. Being polite was hard work that often left Polly tired, but it felt important. What if she wasn't friendly enough? What if she said something unkind? What if she hurt someone's feelings or made someone angry? Just to be safe, Polly practiced her politeness in her bathroom twice each day for 10 minutes. She brushed her teeth until they sparkled and then tried out her smile many times in the mirror. Once she was sure she had a smile for every occasion, she stared straight into her eyes and sang softly, "I am a princess through and through. Nothing but a smile will do. I'm a princess through and through. Nothing but a smile for you." One morning, after this tiring yet necessary practice, Polly smiled one last time, ready for any challenge her day might bring. No matter what happened, she was sure she could be polite. It came as no surprise then that Polly didn't complain once about taking the bus to school rather than riding with Dad. She hated the bus because the older kids made her sit in the back and teased her. But Dad was late for work that day, so Polly gave him her best smile, and she said she understood. She kept smiling all the way to school, doing her best to ignore the kids who were mean to her. It was also no surprise when Polly offered her sandwich at lunch to a hungry classmate, even though it was peanut butter and banana, her favorite. "I've got plenty. You eat it," she said, settling for just her chips and apple. "How polite I am," she thought, smiling with pleasure. When the crossing guard called her Patty for the third time this week, Polly didn't bother to correct her, even though she looked nothing like her sister. Yes, indeed, she felt thoroughly polite. And after supper, she let Patty beat her at cards, even though she herself had the winning move. It felt good to be polite. Finally, when Polly heard her parents arguing at bedtime, she pretended not to hear. Of course, since no one ever argued in this nice family, well, hardly ever. The polite thing to do was to cover her ears, which she did at once. Climbing into bed, Polly felt pleased with her day. She'd been very polite, and she hoped that she'd be even more polite tomorrow. Polly's greatest wish was to be the most polite girl in the whole world. She sometimes wondered why she wanted this, but considering such a question was unsettling, especially at bedtime. So Polly fell asleep, thinking about her successful day instead, exhausted but proud. You can imagine Polly's surprise when, on this night, she had the most impolite dream. It started just the way her day had, talking with Dad at breakfast, but the next thing she knew, there was a snake in the room. And not just any snake, but a huge python. Worst of all, she was the python. She was Polly Python. When Dad said she'd have to ride the bus to school, Polly Python struck with lightning speed, wrapping him in her big python grip until he gasped, Okay, I'll drive you. Polly Python flicked her tongue with pleasure. She liked being in charge and decided to ride the bus anyway, so she could squeeze the life out of anyone who teased her. But as she slithered onto the bus, she looked down and saw long quills covering her body. She was Polly Porcupine. The other kids took one look and rushed to the back of the bus, crouching in fear at the sight of her pointed quills. Polly Porcupine was thrilled to have any seat she wanted, and she sat right up front, enjoying the view. What fun! What power! At school, Polly became polite again, but as soon as she gave away her sandwich at lunch, she heard something funny and realized her mouth was saying, "Oink! Oink!"
Pig.
She was Polly Pig. With her snout, Polly Pig grabbed the sandwich back, making happy grunting sounds as she ate. She squealed with delight as her classmates fled, leaving her with a feast. Quickly gobbling up her chips and apple, Polly Pig rooted through lunch bags and trays, eating everything as fast as she could. She ate and ate, but still wanted more. When at last nothing was left, Polly Pig trotted off to the playground, where she became polite again. After school, when the crossing guard called her Patty, Polly raised her hand to wave, and both she and the guard saw it at the same moment. Her hand was missing, and in place it was a hook, and in the other hand was a sword, and a patch covered one eye. She was Polly Pirate. "What did you call me?" she demanded. "My name is Polly." Polly Pirate flashed her sword, and her friends scattered. Grabbing the guard with her hook, she snarled, "Don't you ever forget my name again, or I'll chop off your head." "Okay, Polly," whispered the guard, frightened out of her mind. Polly Pirate laughed and laughed. She dropped her hook at last, and the terrified guard ran away as fast as she could. Waving her sword all the way home, Polly Pirate felt her cheeks glow with excitement. Everyone would notice her now. No one would forget her name. As soon as as she approached her front door, the sword, hook, and patch vanished, and she became polite again. When she played cards with her sister, Polly grew sharp teeth, black hair, and a long tail. She was Polly Panther. As Patty was about to play the winning ace, Polly the Panther slapped the card away with her paw and bared her teeth, hissing and growling. Poor Patty froze with fright. Polly Panther rose to her feet slowly, relishing the moment. This was so much better than always letting her sister win. She paced back and forth, growling softly. Meanwhile, Patty inched her way to the door, then jumped up and ran to her room, locking herself inside. Polly Panther very carefully picked up the winning card with her teeth and set it down on the pile to end the game. From now on, she would always win. Winning felt good. But she no longer had anyone to play with, so she padded down the hall to her own room, stretched out on her bed, and slowly became polite again. Polly was about to drift off to sleep when she heard Mom and Dad in the next room, speaking crossly. Surely they weren't arguing. Not in this nice family. Well, I mustn't listen. Speaking crossly. Well, I mustn't listen, Polly thought, covering her ears, pretending all was quiet. She wished she was somewhere else, and as she wished, her nightgown became a beautiful ball gown. Sparkly shoes appeared on her feet, and her hand held a wand. She couldn't believe her eyes. She really was a princess. She was Polly Princess. "Oh, how I wish I were somewhere else," Polly Princess said aloud, waving her wand. Somewhere else, somewhere nice where there are plenty of peanut butter and banana sandwiches, where everyone knows my name, where games don't have winners and losers, and there's never, ever any teasing or arguing.
Buzz.
And just like that, poof! Polly Princess was in the middle of a forest, perched on a rock pedestal. It was beautiful there, with many trees, wildflowers, ferns, and soft green mosses. The air smelled sweet with honeysuckle and wild grapes, and all sorts of woodland creatures gathered to play. Polly Princess ran and skipped, jumped and twirled, her heart full of joy. When at last she rested, leaning against a very old, very tall tree, she wondered where she was. "You are in the land of longing," said the tree. "Your time here will be filled with magic of wishes granted." Polly Princess felt happier than she could ever remember. Everything seemed perfect, and for a long while, she didn't have a care in the world. She played with her forest friends each day, from dawn until dusk, delighted by how well they all got along. Gradually, though, one small concern crept into Polly Princess's mind. She remembered all the scary things that had happened before she came into the forest, and she began to worry that scary things could happen here too. Just to be safe, she practiced harder to be a perfectly polite princess, leaving less time to run and play. She began to miss her family and friends, and she even missed school a little. One day, as Polly Princess was resting from princess practice, the very observant tree saw that something was bothering her. "I sense a longing," said the tree. "Is there a new wish to be granted?" Polly Princess considered this, deciding at last to trust the tree. "My name is Polly Princess, and I'm usually in charge of Polly. All in one day, though, I was pushed aside by Polly Python, Polly Porcupine, and Polly Pig. Polly Pig, Polly Pirate, and Polly Panther. They were full of wickedness and scared everyone away. What if they take control again? Can you grant my wish to always be the one in charge?" "Of course, if that's what you really want," the tree said. "But there will be a consequence." "What sort of consequence?" Polly Princess asked. "In the land of people," said the tree, "everyone has lots of parts inside. Parts are the different ways a person has of thinking and feeling. Naturally, parts sometimes disagree about how the person should act. So it's no surprise that you and the others want different things for Polly. When any one part takes charge, though, Polly isn't free to be her best self. And since always being in charge is likely to leave you tired and unhappy, it might feel better to let Polly lead. You and the others could work together to help her." Polly Princess thought about this. It was true that she had become tired and unhappy, but she had to be the one in charge. Polly was just a little girl who clearly couldn't manage anything alone, and working with the other parts seemed impossible. She wished they would just disappear. "Can you make Polly a person with only one part? Just me?" she asked, hopefully. "I'm afraid not," the tree replied. "That's not how people are made." Polly Princess began to feel sad, so she couldn't speak. And just as the sadness began to overwhelm her, her sparkly shoes disappeared and a snake's tail poked out from under her gown. "Oh no," Polly Princess thought. She squeezed her eyes shut, concentrating hard. "I wish to be in charge. I wish to be in charge," she repeated, relieved when the tail faded and her sparkly shoes returned. Polly Princess felt ashamed that the tree had witnessed her transformation. "I'm sorry," she said. "I'm really not such a good princess after all." "You're a fine princess," said the tree. "And the python's a fine python. You're both just parts of Polly. Well, if they're both just parts, said Polly, stepping out of her princess gown, then who am I? Am I just a bunch of parts? Would you like to find out? Asked the tree. Of course, said Polly, but she felt uneasy. What if I find I'm nobody? Oh, that's not possible, the tree said. You are definitely somebody, and when you know who you are, everything will feel different. Polly wasn't sure she understood, but she trusted the tree. How do I start? She asked. What do I do? Talk to your parts, the tree suggested. Get to know them. Then you'll discover who you are. Polly turned her attention inside herself, but every part began speaking at once, giving her a huge headache. All I hear is a big roar, she told the tree, clutching her head. Well, then just pick one. Ask it to step forward and find out why it has come. So Polly went back inside and asked the python to come out. The python was quite happy to do this, wrapping itself around the tree to soak up the sun. Welcome, Polly Python, said the tree. Why have you come? Polly asked, feeling a prickly sensation in her stomach at the sight of it. Okay. And so she said, why have you come? Polly asked, feeling a prickly sensation in her stomach at the sight of it. I am your protector, said the python. My job is to strike at the first hint of danger, squeezing the life out of anyone who dares to frighten you. If I weren't here, I fear you'd be killed. But you might kill the people I love, cried Polly. Then what would happen to me? I'm afraid I must ask you to stay away. As she spoke, she grew long, sharp quills. Welcome, Polly Porcupine, said the tree. Polly asked the porcupine to come out so she could see it better. It scurried up the tree, quills standing in all directions. Why have you come? Polly asked, taking a step back. I am the keeper of proper distance, said the porcupine. With my barbed quills, I make sure no one gets close enough to hurt you. The porcupine was all puffed up and quite proud of itself. Polly felt a bit proud too, hearing this. Her heart beat fast with excitement as she remembered how the porcupine had cleared the bus for her. But then she remembered the driver's face, bewildered and frightened. It wasn't polite to have scared him, too. Polly felt confused and a bit empty. She started to ask the tree what she should do, but then all that came out was oink, oink. Welcome, Polly Pig, said the tree. Would you mind coming out? Polly asked. The pig found a spot far from the python and the porcupine, keeping a wary eye on them. Why have you come? Polly asked. My job is to keep you from feeling empty, said the pig. I find whatever you need and I gobble it up. Without me, I fear you would never have enough of anything. Polly thought about this, and it was true she often felt empty, but she didn't like the idea of the pig stuffing her. She wished people would just notice what she needed and give it to her. As she had thought of this, one hand curved into a hook and the other grasped a sword. Welcome, Polly Pirate, said the tree.
I'm so thirsty.
Welcome, Polly Pirate, said the tree. Polly asked to meet the pirate, who came out, sword drawn. Why have you come? Polly asked, feeling a bit unnerved. With my hook and sword I command attention, replied the pirate. I fear you would never be seen without my help. Polly had to agree. She definitely tended to blend into the background. Sometimes she even forgot herself. But she hated competing to be seen, and with that thought, she changed again, becoming a sharp-toothed cat. "Welcome, Polly Panther," said the tree. Polly invited the panther to come forward. It moved to her side without making a sound, graceful and strong. "Why have you come?" Polly asked. "With my sharp teeth and speed, I'm good at winning," said the panther. "If I didn't do my job, I fear you would always lose." Polly thought this over, and it was true she always lost, but wasn't that the polite thing to do? Winning might involve arguing, which she hated. She wished everyone could just get along. Suddenly, her beautiful gown returned along with her sparkly shoes and wand. "Welcome back, Polly Princess," said the tree. Polly asked the princess to step aside, but the princess politely refused. "It's no use. She won't come out," Polly said at last. "She doesn't even want me to talk to you." So the tree spoke directly to the princess. "Why have you come?" the tree asked. "My job is to make sure Polly is always perfectly polite," said the princess. You must care for Polly quite a lot," said the tree, "because trying to keep someone perfectly polite is hard work." "It's exhausting," the princess agreed, "but I don't dare let down my guard. If Polly weren't always polite, no one would love her." She was smiling, but she looked sad. "In the land of people," said the tree, "no one is always polite or perfect. So I'm afraid that no matter how hard you might try, you won't always be successful." "Maybe that's true," the princess said, sighing. "But I won't give her up. All the others keep trying to make her do dreadful things, but I'll never let them have her." "What if Polly could be loved without being perfectly polite?" the tree asked. "What if she's lovable just the way she is, with all her parts?" The princess looked doubtful, but she had learned to trust the tree. "Can you promise that?" "Can you promise that?" she asked. "Yes, absolutely," said the tree. "But it will be easier if you step outside, so you and Polly can see each other." "I can make her clear out," cried the porcupine, aiming a barbed quill. "No, that won't be necessary," the princess replied. She left Polly and went to sit on her pedestal, pretending the others weren't there. It was midday, and the sun had grown very warm. The tree invited Polly to move closer for shade, but Polly didn't seem to hear. Her eyes were closed, and she appeared to be far, far away. The tree finally asked, "Is there another part here?" Polly shifted slightly, and a pigeon flew out and landed on the princess's shoulder. "Welcome, Polly Pigeon," said the tree. Polly opened her eyes and looked at the bird. "Why have you come?" "I have broad wings," said the pigeon. "Whenever you find yourself in a place that's too scary, I take you somewhere safer. That's why I brought you here to the land of longing. I can't bear to see my little one frightened." Polly smiled at the pigeon. She turned and looked carefully at all her parts, and they looked carefully at her. Frankly, Polly was surprised. She had always thought most of them were trying to get her in trouble, but now she saw they were simply trying to help. They were surprised too, because Polly wasn't the little one they remembered. She was growing up. The pigeon flew back to the top of Polly's head. "How did you get so tall?" the bird asked, peering down. "I have grown quite a bit," Polly replied, standing as straight as she could. The pigeon was confused. "But where is the little one?" it asked. Polly closed her eyes and was quiet for a long moment. Finally, she said, "She's still inside me. I just couldn't see her when you were all in there together. She's hiding and she looks scared." A tear rolled down Polly's cheek. The others rushed towards her, pushing each other out of the way in their effort to be the first to dive back inside and take control. But Polly held up her hand. "Wait, I can help her, she said. Little one thinks she's all alone, and she needs to know that I'm here too. Polly's part stepped back and waited, hovering anxiously. Polly sat and leaned against the tree, her eyes closed. She murmured soft words they couldn't hear, and at times she cried a little. Finally, she spoke. The little one needs lots of care. She's showing me all the things that upset her, and she's very, very scared. She's stuck in a long time ago, so I'm going to invite her here with me where she can feel safe. Polly held out her arms, and after a while, the little one inside reached up to her. Polly rocked her back and forth with whispering reassurances. Why is she so scared? Asked the tree. She's afraid she isn't the right sort of girl, Polly said. No one liked it when she cried or stamped her feet, so she got very quiet and very still. She's been hiding because she thought she wasn't wanted. Polly held her close, singing a lullaby. As the sun to the moon and the shore to the sea, I sing a song of welcome, opening my heart. As the bird to the sky and the wind to the tree, I sing a song of welcome, opening my heart. I'm opening my heart to you, opening my heart to you, opening my heart to you, giving you my heart. The little one began to relax, finally drifting off to sleep. The days and nights passed. Polly continued caring for the little one, rocking her and singing songs. The little one liked the forest and she loved being with Polly. She cried and shouted and stamped her feet at times, but Polly didn't leave her for a moment, which impressed the others. Polly's actually very compassionate, said the python. And courageous, said the pirate. Look how confident she is, said the panther. And how connected she is to the little one, added the pigeon. She's quite creative, marveled the princess. And full of curiosity, cried the pig. She's very calm, too, the porcupine pointed out. They all agreed that Polly had a clear plan that seemed to be working. Indeed, with every day that passed, the little one became happier and more relaxed. After a time, Polly turned to the tree. The little one After a time, Polly turned to the tree. The little one says she's ready to give up her fears now. Do you know where she might put them? The tree said, there are many fine choices here. She could bury them in the earth or pour them in water. She could burn them with fire or give them to the wind. Polly asked the little one, who decided she liked to give them to the wind. But she says it must be a big wind, Polly added, because their fears are very big. So the tree told them all to hold on tightly. When everyone was secure, a gentle breeze began to blow. It blew and blew until it became a mighty wind. Polly held the little one, and the little one offered up her fears with both hands. They tumbled and swirled and swept along until they soon disappeared. The little one clapped her hands and laughed out loud. She wanted to play. So Polly took her running and skipping and jumping and twirling. Polly even taught her to do cartwheels. The other parts enjoyed letting Polly take charge, giving them a much-needed break. A new peace settled over the forest. One morning, the day started as all others had. The sun rose, the flowers bloomed, and the birds sang. Polly's parts were nearby, rested and content. The princess actually spoke to the others now, though she still preferred playing on her pedestal. The pig continued to be nervous around certain ones, but trusted Polly to keep things safe. The tree stood tall, and Polly stood tall next to it, holding the hand of the little one. She imagined her feet planted in the ground and her arms raised as high as branches, bridging the earth and sky. The land of longing was a special place of both dreams and knowing, and on this particular morning, Polly knew something for sure. It was time to go home. She missed her mom and dad, her sister, and her cat. She longed to show the little one her room with its soft bed, games, and books. And although there were peanut butter and banana sandwiches in the forest, they were never as good as Mom's. I have an announcement, Polly called out. The others gathered around, curious. I appreciate each one of you, she began. You worked so hard to keep quiet the little one's fears. I know you meant well, and I'm very grateful. She turned to the python, the porcupine, the pig, the pirate, and the panther. When you were in charge, though, you scared people away with your squeezing, poking, gobbling, chopping, and growling. And when you were in charge, she said to the princess and pigeon, you confused people with your pretending and disappearing. You wanted people to love me, but only the polite part of me. It really doesn't feel good to be loved for just one part. She paused. I'm sure you can all see that things go best when I'm leading the way, and today I've decided that it's time to leave the land of longing and return home. The pig squealed so loudly the others had to cover their ears. What will happen to me? It cried, racing past the others and almost knocking Polly down. Now that you're in charge, you won't need me anymore. Polly knelt down and put her arm around the pig. Of course I'll need you, she said. I'll always need you. You're part of me, just like the little one. The pig trembled while the others looked angry and upset. Polly smiled at them. I never leave any of you behind. We just need to find a different way to be together. Her parts stared at her, unsure what to think. If I didn't need you to do your old jobs, Polly asked them, isn't there something you'd rather do? They all gave this some thought. I'm good at squeezing, the python said at last. I'd enjoy helping you give nice hugs, and I can still alert you to danger, but now I'll let you handle it. Excellent idea, said Polly. The porcupine was puffed up again. I'm good at getting a point across and enjoy helping you say how you feel in a clear way. Great, said Polly. The pig was tickled pink. I'm good at following my nose. I'd love to help you explore new adventures. Polly hugged the pig again. Wonderful, wonderful. The pirate took a bow. I'm good at capturing an audience. It would be my pleasure to help you step into the spotlight with ease. Polly took the pirate's hook, or shook the pirate's hook. Deal. The panther purred. I'm good at landing on my feet. I'd love to help you believe in yourself, win or lose. Polly stroked the panther's head. I would love that too. The princess seemed unsure. If the others behave, perhaps I can stay relaxed. But if they start their old tricks again, you're going to need some politeness. Polly took her hand. As long as I'm leading the way, we'll be fine. Don't forget, I have a heart full of love and compassion. That's really much better than politeness. The princess nodded. I have a good imagination, she said. I'd love to help you imagine stories to tell the little one. Polly hugged her close. You're helping already. It's just the story to tell her. I know just the story to tell her. It's my story, which is her story too, of course. In fact, it's the story of me and all my parts. I can help your imagination fly. Give your story wings, cried the pigeon, swooping through the air. Polly blew a kiss, her mind already soaring with ideas. The little one danced at her side, too excited to stand still. Now that her fears were gone, the little one had a lot of playing to do. All of Polly's parts went running and skipping and jumping and twirling, full of excitement at the promise of going home and helping in new ways. Polly turned back to the tree. I don't know how to thank you, she said. I did find out who I am, and you were right. I am somebody. Yes, said the tree. You are a special somebody. You must always remember that. Polly smiled. I'm glad I'm made of lots of parts because when they trust me, they help me in such wonderful ways. When I see them clearly, I see myself clearly, just like you promised. Everything does feel different after all. She grew quiet. What if I need to visit you again? I'll always be here, said the tree. We're a part of each other too. Just drop your roots and reach for the sky, and we shall meet in the middle. Polly threw her arms around the tree, pressing her cheek against its trunk. You've seen all the parts of me and you still love me, she said. I'll never forget that. She finally sat down and leaned back, her heart full. The little one climbed into her lap and the others gathered around. Polly promised that she would always be there for them, doing her best to listen to their concerns and wishes. That sounds nice, said the pig sleepily. I'm glad to be a part of you. The others nodded their agreement. The sun went down and the moon rose high in the night sky. Relaxed and happy, Polly and her parts fell asleep. Polly woke up in her soft bed, surrounded by warm blankets. She lay very still, afraid to move. That dream, how horrible! She had been a big, scary snake. But as she remembered the rest of the story, she grew more and more excited. It wasn't a nightmare after all. In fact, it was the loveliest dream she'd ever had. There was a python and a porcupine and a pig, and it was far too amazing and important to forget. Polly closed her eyes for a moment and checked inside. Yes, all her parts were there, smiling and waving. She smiled and waved back, then jumped out of bed and grabbed a pen. Opening her notebook, she began to write. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Polly.